EnigmaticPenguin watched my Kane build, the villain from RoboCop 2. And the botched part creation got me thinking, have you ever thought of saving all your failed attempts at making parts? A monument to failure, if you will. So I have to tell you that the original Kane was built by a phenomenal team of machinists that include Merrick Cheney, I believe Tom Cinnamon. I think Chris Rand was part of that group. I'm not positive. They spent a long time on it. And I know that Merrick Cheney, who's just like a god of machining, I know that Merrick has a bucket of failures, like a whole bin full of parts that he got to like step 19 out of 22 and messed it up and had to chuck the part. So it happens to everyone. It is a really good idea. And I haven't considered saving my screw-ups, I must admit. But now, having recently found out that Merrick Cheney has a bin of boned parts, maybe I should start it. I hadn't considered doing that. Now I think that I might. It's a great idea. When I visit makerspaces, and I end up in my life sort of visiting a lot of makerspaces, as you could imagine, one of my biggest complaints is that I want more cacophony on the walls. I want more iterations. I want more screw-ups. I mean, there's not a theater shop in the world that doesn't have a piece of plywood on the wall with some terrifying rip through it that is the example in that room of how someone misused the table saw. That's the kind of stuff that belongs on a shop wall. If it's a makerspace, I want to see 5 prototypes for a final product, all in a row, like the ascent of man. Sorry, like the ascent of man. I have to correct right to left for the camera. Yeah, I love stuff up on the walls. I love that narrative. Okay, this live question just came in. You know it. That's their username. You know it says, are you excited about Amazon and Blade Runner 2099? Yeah, I really am. I found myself thinking last night, I wonder if I could get into that crew. I wonder if I could build them a prop. I mean, the great thing about bumping Blade Runner's narrative 50 years ahead of 2049 is all bets are off, right? You get to use some pieces of the world, but you kind of get to build it from scratch. And that's, from a design, aesthetic, directorial standpoint, that sounds dreamy and lovely. And yeah, part of me would love to, just like I made the ghost whistle for Ghostbusters Afterlife, I'd love to make one small hero prop. Do you hear that, production? Hear that? I would make you one prop. Let's see if we can make something happen. All right, we had another one here. Broadarrow Jack Leathers. Broadarrow Jack Leathers says, have you considered mounting your old workbench tops to show the story your work tells? You know, so you're talking about this thing here. This is the piece of leather that covers my workbench. Actually, I've signed it here. Adam Savage Workbench Surface, January 2020. And yeah, this tells a real story, right? I do have an idea for this. God, it's gorgeous. Because I haven't worn through it, but I'm getting close to wearing through it. Part of me wants to make a bag out of this. I think one of the greatest bag designs in history is a French postman's bag, which uses leather of just about this thickness. So I've toyed with making a French postman's bag out of this stuff. But there's another thing. I was thinking about a costume part. One of my all-time favorite movies is Time Bandits. In Time Bandits, we get to meet Agamemnon, played by Sean Connery, in a wonderful role. And when we meet Agamemnon, he's fighting the Minotaur. He's fighting this giant gladiator in a rotting horned bull's head. And the gladiator has a gladiator's armored arm. I would love to make a gladiator arm, armored leather arm out of this. Yeah, right? I feel most of you nodding, like that's a better execution than a French postal bag. So that's what I might end up doing with this. Justin Ashcraft wants to know if I'm still planning on making a custom lightsaber. Yes. He says, when you made the Return of the Jedi Luke saber, you said you were going to make your own version. Super curious to see your Jedi Adam Savage lightsaber. You and me both. Yeah, there's a couple of lightsaber builds on our horizon that we've been talking about for a long time. I think long enough that Norm might even be just a little frustrated I haven't got to it yet, but I will. Because yes, it's part of every Jedi's journey to make their own lightsaber, right? Danny Breathnach. Daithí Breathnach says, what a great name. I mean, I'm butchering it, I apologize, but it's a great name. They say, I watched the MythBusters episode where you and Jamie trained to be a passenger on the U2 plane, and I noticed after the flight, we did have a fight on that shoot. On the flight, you had a patch badge in your hand. Could you tell us what it was? The folks at Beale, the entire crew at Beale Air Force Base up there near Sacramento was amazing. It was like a fantasy camp to get to spend a whole week living up there and training with them. I believe I'm going to have to go back and look at this episode, and I'll pull these out and do a little show and tell about it. But I got a couple of patches. One was a name patch for me with the like that all astronauts and pilots have on their flight suit. The other one is they made this big MythBusters patch for the shoulder that was really beautiful. And this is on the incredible yellow and green flight suit that they wear in the U2 spy plane in the Dragon Lady. Those suits are built by David Clark Company. And just after we did the flight, somebody put one up for sale on eBay, and I'm still sad that I did not buy it. It was expensive. It was 10 grand, which, yeah, I mean, that's a stretch at any moment. However, it is a deal to end all deals. Those things cost way more than that. I still really want one. I love that suit. I love that helmet. I love that suit. But I believe that what you're referring to is a custom MythBusters patch that they made to commemorate my flight in the U2. Everything about that week was incredible. I literally was just watching that episode recently. I wanted to see the piece that we'd done on how the Dragon Lady gets taken apart and put back together every couple of years. It's just incredible. For those who haven't seen it, right, late in MythBusters' tenure, I think in the second to last season, I got a flight in the U2 spy plane. And so I flew very high. My actual highest altitude is classified. I am allowed to say the following. I flew above 70,000 feet elevation. That is all I'm allowed to say. I will tell you, I could see so much of California in one shot. It was shocking. I saw planes below me, and my pilot pointed out that those commercial airlines that I could see below me, like this big, were as far below me as they are above me here standing on Earth. That's how far I was. Whew, it's the blackness of space. You see the infinitesimally thin layer of Earth's atmosphere. Serious, man. It was incredible. The U2 spy program, I believe, takes one civilian up for a demo flight every couple of years. And MythBusters production was very lucky to be that civilian. I was the representative civilian that year. Oh, God, I would do that again in a heartbeat. I was at a wedding recently where I met the guy who greenlit my flight. Yeah, he was in charge of the budget. You never know who you're going to run into. I've got a package. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.